A lot has changed in Hillsborough County over the past 30 years, but the way our state attorney prosecutes criminals hasn't. Violent crime is increasing. Murder, rape, and domestic violence are going. Rape victims blamed for what they've endured. As state attorney, I'll change that. I'll target the violent crime that threatens our neighborhoods, and I will always stand with this. The world has changed in 30 years. It's time for new ideas. I'll provide the leadership we need to keep our communities safe.
To keep our community safe, would you care to explain how beating up children, putting daddies in jail for 6 months and torturing them, telling children their parents are going to die, or dragging mommies like animals is safe, Andrew Warren?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Andrew Warren. I'm running for state attorney to continue the public service that I've done all over the country, here in this community. My two little girls are growing up here, and it's my mission to make it as safe as possible for them, for your families, and for every other law-abiding citizen. Now, we have problems in our criminal justice system. To target the crimes that pose the greatest threats to our community, crimes that threaten our physical safety and our economic security. That's how we build a safer neighborhood. We also need to establish a conviction integrity unit to review questionable convictions, to make sure that the people we're locking up are the ones that actually committed the crimes. Lastly, for too long, for far too many people in our community, justice has been only a word. There's no justice for anyone. When the system handles cases differently based on where you live or where you're from or who your lawyer knows, we need to apply the law fairly and consistently to everyone in the community. Some of you may have heard, we have a bit of an old boys network here in Hillsborough. But as an outsider to the Tampa courthouse scene, I'm not going to let my relationships with defense lawyers or anyone else compromise my fairness. I've pledged to keep politics out of the state attorney's office so that decisions are made on the facts and the facts alone, not on relationships or favors. Breadth of experience, the attributes of a prosecutor, and the vision for the office. Those are the three things that matter.
No, Andrew Warren. The three things that matter are Abby, Alex, and Brandon. What matters is me and my dad will not let you do this to anyone else's Abby, Alex, and Brandon, you sick son of a bitch.
But beyond experience, it's about the attributes of being a prosecutor. Integrity, discretion, judgment to know how to allocate resources effectively to keep our neighborhoods safe. Discretion about who to charge and who not to charge, who to lock up and throw away the key to be tough on versus who deserves a second chance. And integrity about doing the right thing even when no one's looking. Do for Hillsborough County. As I've talked about before, there are a lot of problems here.
But it's not illegal to protest.
No, but you have to understand that there are consequences.
Yeah, integrity is about doing the right thing when no one's looking us here. Because it's important, as I mentioned in my opening, to make sure that decisions are being handled on the facts and on the facts alone. Campaign. Who's getting justice and who's getting favors? Money does matter, unfortunately, in our system. I've gone up against some of the best defense lawyers in this country, well-funded, and we've seen it in local politics and the local state attorney's office as well, in terms of favors that certain attorneys get based on their relationships with the office. But the bigger problem, frankly, that your question addressed, comes to the culture of our criminal justice community, where we focused, for example, on misdemeanor drug possession cases, rather than on the crimes that really threaten our community. Child abuse, sexual assault, economic crime. That's what poses the biggest threat to our community. And that will level the playing field a little bit in terms of the type of over-policing and overcharging we see, especially for indigent individuals. You need to have more transparency in how prosecutors and police operate. You need to have standards of accountability for police and what happens when they violate those standards of conduct. There are things that we can do. For example, cases where there's a perceived or potential conflict of interest can be referred out to another investigating and prosecuting agency. If there's a conflict of interest where we as the state attorney cannot investigate a case without a potential conflict, that's the right remedy. Secondly, as I mentioned in my opening, we can establish a conviction integrity unit. Now, this is a specialized section that exists within prosecutors' offices, separate from the rest of the prosecutors, who are there to review questionable convictions after the fact based on either changed evidence or new testimony, whatever it may be, to make sure that the people we put in prison are there. Not only because we may have locked up an innocent person, but because we may not have caught the guilty one. But that case actually shows the way our criminal justice system is supposed to work in two respects. One, we were willing to take on a difficult case, not worried about the risk of life, but because it was the right thing to do.
Because it was the right thing to do, was putting my dad in jail for 6 months and torturing him and not giving him any water for 3 days? Was that the right thing to do when even the DA admitted he did nothing wrong? Was beating me up, a child, the right thing to do? Was dragging my mommy like an animal the right thing to do? Was telling my 6-year-old sister her parents are going to die the right thing to do? Was telling us we can't protest and stealing $50,000 from us, was that the right thing to do? Well, Andrew Warren, I'll tell you what the right thing to do is. The right thing to do is drop charges on my dad. The right thing to do, stop raping poor families and prosecuting them. The right thing to do, Andrew Warren, is step down and let a real man take your job, because a real man doesn't criminalize daddies and let the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department abuse children and say dad is dead. A real man acts like my dad, and my dad doesn't let anybody touch his Abby, Alex, and Brandon, or any daddy's Alex, Abby, and Brandon. And you, Andrew Warren, will never be a real man.